Hi, this is Rukristin, feminist scrapbooker, and today I'm going to be showing you how I'm going to be putting together my food commonplace book for the rest of 2017. I'm going to be using this book as a way to keep all of my food recipes and food thoughts for Thanksgiving, Christmas, and the rest of the year in this journal here. It's going to be a 6-ring, here are the rings. It's going to be a 6-ring mini album, and I'm going to be putting together right here. Right now I am creating the covers. These are Tim Holtz grunge board, which is like super old school scrapbooking stuff, but you can get it in a big box store. I picked mine up at Joann's, and my album is going to be 5 by 7, 5 by 8, I'm sorry, 5 inches by 8 inches. And I'm going to be using this 6-ring hole punch, 6 binder rings. If you use the Ali Edwards 6-ring binder for like your December daily or your small format project life, it's the exact same size. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut a plastic cover to go over my grunge board. I'm going to be using this piece of paper and covering the grunge board. So I'm cutting this here acrylic or plastic paper with the X-Acto knife so I can cut it to size. Just gonna make this line. This book is not gonna be perfect. This book's definitely gonna get like food on it. But I am trying to make it like as protected as possible, so I don't know if you can see this line very well. Bring it up to, yeah, there you go. Kind of like, yeah, bend it a little bit. So you can buy these clear plastic sheets on Amazon. You can usually pick them up in a scrapbook store. I buy them wholesale, and if you're an Awesome Ladies VIP member, in January when we do our CHA buying sale, you can get in on this with us because I use these in like everything. Anytime I'm making mini albums that don't have that aren't in like a regular like an album you would buy at a store, whatever you want to call that. Anytime I'm making a DIY mini album. So now we have our first cover. The acrylic pieces come with this like plastic covering, so anytime you use an X-Acto knife, you usually peel off like part of the plastic first, and it like gets on everything. Okay, so now we have our front cover, and I want a back cover too, just to protect it as much as possible. So like spaghetti sauce stains get on this plastic cover, and you can just like wipe it off instead of ruining your entire book, because that's definitely gonna happen. Water time. Cool. So this food commonplace book is gonna have like notes for what I want to cook for Thanksgiving, or we're gonna do Friendsgiving this year because it's only gonna be the two of us for actual Thanksgiving. So what I want to cook, like recipe ideas, notes I get, like screenshots of things, just like Brandy Kincaid did a webinar for Get Messy, and she called her commonplace books like a real life Pinterest, and that's exactly what I'm going for here. A real life Pinterest for my food for the rest of 2017. And what inspired this was partially Brandy's webinar yesterday, and partially the theme for the Awesome Ladies monthly storytelling workshop this month, November, is food. And so I was making all of my food projects this month, or well, for next month, this past month, whatever. All during October when I was making my food projects for the upcoming storytelling workshop. I was going through all of my papers, seeing all of the awesome food pages I had, and like I was like, I really want to make something awesome, like that I could use all of these food papers that I've been hoarding for. So like this paper here, this is from Studio Calico from literally 2009. It was a full 12 by 12 piece of paper in my stash, and the uh, little tab at the bottom of the page had Studio Calico copyright 2009. Um, so like old paper, and I just wanted to make something like really awesome that I could like keep all of my food notes in. And I do so much cooking during the holiday season that it would be such an awesome thing to have documented and like look back on of like I don't ever have like time to like take pictures and like do the whole like scrapbooking Thanksgiving or Christmas like perfectly and beautiful. Like I just don't. And like I know we're gonna have like this awesome relaxed Thanksgiving this year and I'm not gonna want to like make it gorgeous, but if I have this little album where I can just take my time and like make it pretty right now and then just throw all of my ideas in there, I'll have so much more documented than I ever thought I would have. And so what I just did there was use this zip dry scrapbook glue, which if you're ever gluing patterned paper or any kind of paper to anything at all, this is absolutely the best glue to use. It makes your paper wrinkle 0% at all. There's no puffy, there's nothing at all. Um, so like it just totally takes to the anything, the surface at all. And I'll have to go back and like, let me see if I can get this up to you. You can see that it's coming apart a little bit. I'm gonna wait for this to dry over here, and then I'm gonna go back after I cut my back cover. I'm gonna cut the back cover next. After I cut and glue the back cover, I'm gonna come back and do a glue edge around the end. A glue end around the edge. Either way. All right, let's put that to the side. Sip of water. And no, you know what? Let's not even make it any more difficult than it needs to be. Let's do the glue right now. Because I don't think I need a pretty back cover right now. If I feel like I need a pretty back cover later, I'll add a pretty back cover. So I just lift up that little spot and get some glue in there. And like a little bit of this glue goes like a really long way. I've gone through like probably 100 bottles of this glue in the last 15 years. It has made, if you're going to make mini albums, you need to get that glue. It needs to be in your scrapbook arsenal. It needs to be part of your toolbox. And because a little bit goes a long way, I tend to pull it up in the middle and then come back and do the edges. And it is pretty forgiving, so if it does come out at the end like it's coming out at the end, it's pretty quick drying, and so like let's squeeze it out there and then just leave it in about like, let's say, 60 to 90 seconds. We'll come back and just like, and we did a good job on that corner. In 60 to 90 seconds, we'll come back and just, wipe it off like we would any other dry glue. Okay, so let's put that off to the side. And here's our back cover. Where did I put the other one? And here are our two plastic pieces. I'm going to go ahead and, let's move that glue out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and take our protective plastic pieces off. And so now you can see that they are totally 100% clear. You know what, I probably technically should not, oh my garbage, sorry that was loud. Technically should not have done that yet, if we're being, 100% safety rules. Hole punch. You should do the hole punching first, just in case. And you should try to do the hole punching on the side where the plastic pieces aren't coming up. So slide the hole punch in as far as it goes. So, quick change of plans. That paper hole punch is not lining up correctly. I don't know if I broke it myself by using it literally 10,000 times. And I did a new one, or if I can fix it. It's like $15 on Amazon, so I've definitely gotten my use out of it, but now I get to go to my other favorite tool for this, is the Crop-A-Dial, which you can get on Amazon or Big Box Store. Okay, so the correct way to do this is to create a hole punch master sheet, and for that we're going to use this little extra piece of acrylic paper. And this is going to be your hole punch guide. And so we're going to line it up here on our grunge paper so that we know, roughly where we want our holes punched. And I'm going to grab a little marker and we're going to mark exactly where we want the holes to go. I want this to be well, now that we're not using the 6 hole punch, I'm going to do 3 binder rings right in the middle. I'm going to take this permanent marker and I'm going to get down here and mark an X here. And again, I'm not being perfectionist. This album is going to be pretty messy. If I were doing this as a 6x6 album that was only going, or as like a 4x6 album that was only going to be 4x6 photos, I did one of my Week in the Life albums that way, where it's just black and white 4x6 albums that have like title cards and stuff. I would make sure that that was totally perfect, and I would measure like 2 inches from the top, or 2.5 inches from the top and 2.5 inches from the bottom, and like definitely line it up to be perfectly in sync. But that's not what I'm going for here. This is, and so here you can see I have the holes taken out. Like, I can tell this one's a little off. Like, that one is definitely, like, these two are a little closer than these two. But, like, you know what, let's go ahead and make this one a little bit bigger. And now that we have here's what I'm gonna do. Process video, thinking on the fly, yay. Okay, so the Crop-A-Dial is awesome because it goes through pretty much everything, but it's not really something you can take around with you. And so when I make these mini books and have them go around with me, I take a regular hole punch. And so now that we have this hole, we can kind of make the holes more regular hole punch sized. And neat trick, if you take this middle hole and you make it larger, and you want the larger side to go this way, and you take this hole and you make it larger, and you make the larger, make it, wow, I'm totally gonna edit this part out because I sound very not smart. You make the hole larger going this way, and then you come up here, make this hole larger going further away. Your holes are miraculously more even. I'm going to keep the plastic wrap on our guide, so that it stays as protected as it can throughout the mini album process. I mean, I'll keep that. I'm going to keep the hole punch together. Like, I'll probably keep like a little supply bag with this album, like, in my kitchen. Okay, well, now I actually need this guide, right? So I'm going to go ahead and use the hole punch guide. And right now I'm going to tell you that that hole punch is not going to go through the grunge board. So, Crop-A-Dial it is. Take your guide, hole punch, hole punch, hole punch. Holes. Now you've got your holes. Same thing with your front cover. Put your grunge board down. So something that you should do is mark what is the top and the bottom on this. And so, like, I know I said I wasn't going to take the plastic off, but I need to peel some of it off so that I can just write that this is the top. No, just put it back up there, and now I smeared it, so that's awesome. Cool, but we know that that's the top because it has a mark. It doesn't really matter if we can read if it says top or not. So again, here's our front cover with this amazing illustrated kitchen paper that I've been hoarding for like probably close to a decade. It's from Keezy Art, which I don't even know if they're a company anymore. They're European, and getting their products was such a hassle, but like they're so gorgeous, which is why I saved it for literally 10 years. All right, that's the front cover. It's cut. Take our guide and hole punch, hole punch, hole punch. Put it down. And our back cover. Hole punch. 2 and 3. I'm going to go ahead and take this plastic off of the back cover. And my draw's gonna squeak. Oh no, totally didn't. I have a little garbage pail inside this top drawer here so that I can so that I can throw out my garbage. All right, binder ring protocol. Okay. The little notch, the hinge, goes on the second to last page. So my grunge board page, which is my second to last page, because my clear page is going to be my last page so we don't get, dirty crap all over my book. The hinges are going to go into that page. Open up. And then we slide on the back cover. One. It's not exactly the most elegant procedure. Okay, I have the top 2, so I'm going to close the top 2. And then I'll get this last back one on. Okay, so the shell of my book is made. Clear cover, grunge board, back grunge board, clear cover. Let's put it off to the side, along with our guide, which we will come back to in 1 second. Clear off my little garbages. Now I will show you how to make some inside pages. And the idea of inside pages is to just like not have your book be blank. So first thing I have is some basic patterned paper. These were just some really old school patterned paper. These have some green on the back, and these are just plain white pages on the back. These are pretty thin, so I'm gonna put them together. Use our guide and hole punch. 1, hole punch 2, hole punch 3. And then I'm going to put them off to the side. I'm going to do the same thing with these. I also think that you should add, well, you know, if you're going to do this, and I will be doing this off camera in a little bit, but I thought it would be boring to make you watch me cut like 15 pages of cardstock. Add some cardstock pages, some white or gray, whatever colors go with your album. I'll probably be adding some red and yellow. So the next thing I'm going to show you is how to add a magazine page. So this came out of like Bon Appetit, and I pulled it from my stash of like pretty magazine pages. And again, I'm using this zip dry, which like fast drying zip dry, like definitely clogged up the head of the nozzle a little bit. I do recommend when using this that you do take this top off and put the cap back on. Like if you read the directions, they're pretty adamant about it too. You will waste a lot less glue this way. So zip dry your magazine onto, you know, probably a sheet of cardstock because your magazine is going to be way too flimsy to stand up in a binder ring album. So magazine, and again, I'm going to need to zip dry these corners a bit in about, let's say, 30 seconds. So let's put that off to the side. I have a pizza transparency, which is very similar to our clear acrylic pages. Same thing with our, what are we calling this? Master binder grid thing. Our cool thing with holes. Oh wow, it really doesn't like me. So let's switch to the, let's switch this. Why was I torturing myself? We got our pizza transparency. Okay, so now we're probably good to add. That one's pretty good. That one needs some glue. Tomato season is over, and I'm already craving more fresh tomatoes, and I'm so ready to start getting ready for next tomato season. We've saved a lot of different things from our tomato garden this year to use for both of our Friendsgiving dinner and in Christmas. So tomatoes will definitely be featured prominently in this commonplace food book. So I was really excited that I remembered to save this magazine. I'm going to trim off the top piece of this cardstock here. Then I'm going to grab our guide. Guide, that's what we were calling it. Let's try the hole punch again. Maybe I was holding it upside down. Who knows, right? Someone definitely knows, and it probably should have been me. Alright, that page goes there. I have a couple of other cool pages that I've been collecting from my stash over the years. And so that's another one of the cool things about these albums is that, like, if you like collecting paper, I love collecting paper, and I've been collecting paper since I was, like, however old you have to be to collect paper. And so like a food album or a travel album or a music album, anything that has a theme, you can go through your stash and just pull such cool things. Like you can start collecting things. So this is a card from a Kelly Perky kit from a couple years back. So I'm gonna use that on our guide and just keep creating these inside pages, and they will be awesome. And like either you'll have something awesome to put on them or they'll just look cool. And even if you don't end up putting something amazing or filling your book with amazing things, like, hey, look, you put together a book of really cool paper. It's the act of putting it together is art in it of it's. See, it sounded really good in my head, and then when I started saying the words, they just became like word soup. Word soup sounds really good right now. It got so cold here in Michigan. Just like so fast. I think the high today is like literally 37 degrees. It's just not fair. As I like literally punched the ice cream themed paper. But totally, one of the best parts about making these books is that you get to collect things and you get to use things and you get to like make cool artifact art, and every little book is like its own little time capsule of things that you chose to put together and things that you chose to choose. You picked this up in the first place. You decided that this was worth saving, and you decided that this was worth being interesting enough to look at and categorize and spend the time and effort on. And so like these two things I got here are this is a grocery store stamp book. So like super vintage. And this is these are war ration stamps that I picked up at a antique sale here when I first moved to Michigan. So I have a lot of these saved in my I guess I should like sure my stash. I have a 3-tier box, a 3-drawer box with a bunch of different like antique papers, and this here is war rations, and I thought that was like totally awesome and perfect for a food book. So it is like super 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 flimsy, and I don't exactly know how I want to back it yet, but now that I have it here laying on this envelope, I think I'm gonna go and just put it right on top of the envelope. I'm gonna use the guide to put holes in this envelope. Let's see how I want to put this. Yeah, I think just like that. I'm gonna go ahead and use this zip dry glue again. And this is super fun. You can add embellishments, like however you want to represent your style inside of the theme that you're using, is totally up to you. If you're big into magazines, if you're big into photos, however you want to do it. If you're huge into patterned paper, if you're huge into digital paper, get your favorite digital papers printed and like just go for it. If you have a ton of Project Life cards, use those. And the last thing I have here, well, I have two things. These are some Kelly Perky label. it's a piece of paper with labels, so I have to cut them up, and I will cut them up. But the other thing I have here is this awesome letterpress coaster. I am going to, I don't want to punch holes in it, so I'm going to stick it in this envelope for now. The same with these Kelly Perky labels. And this Trader Joe's bag. So I'm a huge fan of making albums interactive because I think they're so much more fun to go back through and touch if you can like play with them. And so here I'm gonna go through and kind of make the inside of our album. So I'm gonna move this out of the way, move our little lemons out of the way. And so we have these 4 patterned papers that I started with. And so let's make those the base. And I'm gonna put our stuff just kind of like, you know, in between. I'm gonna put the pizza on that because that looks cool. And then just kind of, you know, stack. And the cool thing about these is that you can, yeah, this is good. Now let's just put this one in the back because it is so not ice cream time. The best thing about these is that you can move them around as much as you want, as little as you want. You can do whatever you want to do. It's yours. I'll put this in here and just start putting your pages in. Add as little as you want throughout the time you want to use them. If you have recipe cards would be amazing. I can't find mine. I know I have them somewhere in the house, but was not going to spend all day looking for recipe cards and then get like super sad and not get this video up. And so I'm going to close these out. And I'll do a quick flip through of the album and show you about what we've made here today. So, front cover. Thank you so much for spending time with me. And if you would like to check out more ways to tell your food story, visit theawesomeladiesproject.com and check out our food storytelling workshop. Oh no, get back down there. See, now I have to fill up this book with even more goodies so that it's easier to flip around and look through. Thank you so much.